Okay. Hello, this is ASEAN Movie Pulse Interviews. Today I'm here with Kanishka and Siddesh, whose documentary Until I Fly is premiering in Thessaloniki Documentary Film Festival in a few days. How are you guys?
Very well.
Good, good.
Thanks for having us here.
Thank you for finding the time. First question. This is what came to my mind initially after I watched, when I watched this particular scene. There is this scene that the protagonist, Veeru, is being ganged up by his classmates. They're all attacking him together at the same time. So at this point, what came to my mind is how did you restrain yourselves not to go inside and stop them? I mean, how did you manage to not be involved?
Um, so see, this was a time when one of the very few times that we saw Viru get out of his comfort zone and actually try and mingle with the village kids. And to just give you some background, this village is a very tiny village. There are around 30 to 40 houses in total, and they are all around a temple. So there's a temple yard wherein everyone from the village gathers up every afternoon or evening to just chill and kill time. So this was one of those days that, after school, children had gathered up and they were playing a friendly game of tag, and Viru decided to join them in. So we were surprised and at the same time very happy that, he's taking that step by himself. Now, it was a matter of just like, you know, it all started with a friendly game of tag, and in no time it escalated into a fight. So when we were shooting that scene, for us, we were just, in fact, it became at that point in time in our minds, it was like, okay, this is going to be a nice addition that we see that he's making an effort, but it quickly just escalated into something else. Now, when it escalated, just at the time that, it would the thought that came to our mind that we should probably step in right now and break the fight. We were so proud that Viru stepped up for himself, and we didn't have to step up and interfere for and just break the fight because there is an adult who does not belong to this village is trying to settle something. So for us, it was throughout the filming, it was very essential for us that we do not step in a way that, because we are just there for a while. We are going to go after a point of time. And, at the end of the day, it's Viru who has to live with these people. So, even though our presence is there, we didn't want to interfere to this extent that it might jeopardize him living around those villages. So luckily, with this particular scene, it just happened that Viru stepped up for himself, and there wasn't any need for us to um, interfere.
Mm-hmm. And in general, was it difficult to get the locals and the protagonists to get used of having a camera so close to them? How did you manage to do that?
So the idea was always that because we kept visiting there, and our crew setup was very small and intimate. Our camera setup was also very small and intimate. So the idea was to, in general, in the beginning, get the villagers and everyone get comfortable with, the idea that there is a small camera and there is uh, these people who are moving around with that camera. So over a period of time, they did get comfortable. It took some time, for them to get used to us around there also, and add up all of that. But I think like it wasn't like too difficult to do that. They saw that we also it wasn't the people that we are interacting with. We were also interacting with the other villagers. We were also interacting with the other children in the village. So it kind of started becoming quite normal.
Yeah, and plus, what really helped was our major of the shooting was during the pandemic. So in 2020 in 2020, we moved to the village and we stayed there for about almost 2 years. So that really helped because, we were living there, being a part of that village. We would meet everyone, be it Veeru, his family, or the other villagers every day, day in, day out. So that really helped to ease the idea of being filmed.
Okay. And where did you find the boy? How did this whole thing started?
So in 2017, both Siddesh and I were hiking in that area in the northern India, in the Himalayas. And it was purely a matter of luck that we happened to be staying in that same village. We were in transit to some other place. And the 1, 2 days that we were living there, we came across Veeru, we came across his family, and there was just something about Veeru was just hardly 5 years old back then. So there was just something about him that really caught our attention, and it stayed with us until the next time that we thought that, okay, fine, there is something over here, and we should pursue this as a story.
And you shot the film for 5 years, am I correct?
Yeah.
So I guess you were going back and forth to the area. How did that work?
Yeah.
So initially we went there in 2017 for our research. I mean, we met Veeru and we kind of like came back with the idea. Then over the years, like since from 2019 or so, like I mean, we kept going back and forth over there, and like I think at a certain point we decided that we need to be there for a long period of time, like Kanishka mentioned earlier. That happened to be during the pandemic time, and we ended up staying there throughout for almost 2 years. Yeah.
And how would you say the boy changed through the years? How did you see him change growing up? And
I think it was quite a
Well, you see it in the film,
yeah.
but if I were to just
Yeah.
verbalize, yeah, you were saying.
I was saying that I mean it was see like I mean as the boy was growing up, like I think we were all and you see the different kind of emotions in the film as he grows up. But as filmmakers, we were also going through those different kind of emotions even more deeply because like we were witnessing it firsthand. So like when the boy is going through difficult circumstances, when he's much younger, the younger days, like uh, to a time, when he comes to an age where he starts understanding what is or is trying to figure it out, and then to a time where he starts gaining confidence in the idea of its identity. So these are the different phases that we saw, growing in Veeru and eventually.
Yeah, I think one factor that has been always very present and strong in Veeru is, as we have mentioned in the film, that his name in Hindi means brave, and he's a very brave child. It doesn't he the entire reason that we did this film was because there's a sort of wisdom in him that you expect from an older person, who has gained a lot of experiences in his life or her life and has reached the stage. But this young boy had so much of understanding and wisdom in him that, kind of made him the way he is and made him like we were so attracted to his personality purely because of that, and it is purely his resilience that has helped him reach the stage.
are you still in contact with him? Or
Oh
how
yeah,
close?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, they just built a new section of their house, so
Yeah, I think our bond kind of became closer and closer and tighter as the film went on. So that is a beautiful relationship that we formed with Veeru and his family also.
And how would you describe his mother? how is life for her? Because it seems that it's also difficult for her being there without the husband, essentially.
Yeah, so the thing is that, see, the husband is sort of a guest in the house. So he comes and goes at his will. So it is definitely difficult for her because A, she has the responsibility of, so many children, and B, she has to carry the burden of A, marrying a person whose origins are from Nepal, and B, she has a child with him. So, there is always tension that's, mounting her head all the time. So things are difficult, very difficult. And that's what we were trying to portray in the film with the parallel montage, wherein, you see Veeru being called out by the village kids, and whereas she is standing in the temple yard where all the villagers are gathered, but you can see she is by herself and all the villagers are together. So, these are the things that we really had to keep in mind while building the film, because um, it it's not Viru's struggle alone; it's his mother's struggle as well. And it's a mother and son at the end of the day. So it's about who is coping how, what is their coping mechanism. So
And the move to a, to a new house, um, you know, that they have built by themselves. I think that kind of actually helped the mother also mentally, because of all the things that she was kind of going through before. It helped her because then she had her own farm to kind of like work around with, and it's a space which is completely for the family. So that definitely helped as fast.
Mm-hmm. And how about the husband? How is he? Like he doesn't care? What is his mentality, let's say, about his family? How would you describe him?
uh see, with the husband, it is an aftermath of what Viru is facing right now, a discrimination that he's facing. That although he migrated, unlike Viru, he migrated to India. He was not born in India, but still that, there is a certain mindset that obviously that's prevalent towards all migrants throughout the world. And he is in a situation wherein, like, unfortunately, he has to depend on alcohol to give him, comfort. So, which is does not help because there are obviously, as we all know, there are a million problems that follow through. So the responsibility, so to say, for the entire family is in a way more than the mother. It's more on Viru's oldest sister Seema, who has to literally take care of him as her own son, more or less, because she was literally there when their mother gave birth to Viru. So, she has been really taking care of him since he was born. So, all the burden in the family is it should be equally divided, but unfortunately, it's divided between Seema and Viru's mother.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. And okay, the film is also about racism in a way and alienation. And I was wondering, do you think these issues are worse when are happening in such a small community?
If they are worse, if they happen in a smaller community. I mean, Um, I mean, it's just that the thing is the kind of racism or the discrimination, I would say, that exists, that you see in the film. It's not like an out there discrimination, like that that everyone is that you see openly so much all the time. It's these the entire scenario kind of sometimes becomes a little murky, and you see hints of discrimination coming in where sometimes the boy would not be allowed in participating in something because someone said something, like or maybe the kids may not play with them on one day, or things like that. So like it's these kind of things happen. So like you do notice it. I mean, this kind of discrimination, and it's not that it's only there in the village. It's we see this even more often in the cities. Like I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, so the thing is that, see, in the cities, we have, firstly, to give some background, you must have already read in the film that India and Nepal share an open border, right? So since decades, we've had uh, Nepalis coming in India working. Now, in the cities, it's very common for the working class community of Nepalis who are coming in India to work as security guards in the cities. Now, what happens is that since it's a city, they have their clusters. So they have their community who they always go back to after their jobs, right? But in a village, Veeru is the only one who is half and half, you know. He doesn't have, or, there is no other family like that who's living in that village. So if I were to take an example of his situation, then definitely it is more worse because, there is no other. He's the only one. So you don't have like another comfort zone, so to say. So, yeah.
Okay. And what language do they speak in the village? I wasn't sure what I was hearing. Do they speak Hindi or?
Yeah, so they speak Hindi and Himachali. It is sort of a dialect of Hindi. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And the film also shows that sports in the end provide like a solution, a solace in the end. Is that your opinion? Because, cinema people tend to look down on sports as a general opinion. So what's your opinion on that?
See, with uh, keeping aside what cinema people would think about it, the idea is that we are looking at a character who it is purely up to his future what gives him the emancipation that he needs. And sports was one of the things. Now he's a mountain boy. Okay, he's very active. You you have a race with him and he'll disappear in the woods somewhere in the less than half a minute. He's very active. So for him, it was a very natural talent that kind of flourished when he started going to school. So, and
And sorry, and it wasn't just it's not just sports, it's also like the idea of school, of going to school, of education, because I think that is the one comfort space where he could end up flourishing, with of course, with an additional support of sports. Like the sports was a very good, a very good surprise, a very warm surprise even for us. And like, I think it was even really nice for Veeru to gain that confidence that, okay, like now that I've taken the step of going to school, here is my reward of like, something that I can be good at, which is sports. And yeah, like I mean, I think it's a very rewarding thing to see a child kind of like, because we hear that school helps you. Here is when you actually see it happening, right in front of your eyes, to a boy who comes from a difficult circumstance and ends up actually growing 10 times more because of school and sports.
Okay.
but it's real life at the end of the day. It's
Yeah.
not fiction. So, um, we have to take it as it is.
But how big exactly is kabaddi in India? Like there are professional players, you can make a living out of playing kabaddi, let's say.
Oh, definitely. It has grown a lot over the period of few years. And there are professional clubs, there are proper like leagues that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have teams coming in from different states, in India. So it's definitely something big. And it's one of the oldest sports in India.
Okay,
We
okay.
used to play that when we were kids. So it's like a very common evening game that you play as you are kids.
So girls play also.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
definitely.
Okay, okay. And in general, how would you describe the Indian movie industry in terms of documentaries now? I guess this is your first, but was it, let's say, is it easy? Are there opportunities financially to shoot documentaries? Because it's difficult usually. So how is it in India?
I would say, like, I mean, it's the documentary scene in India it's not an easy one. Getting financing uh, is is something that I mean, any documentarian that you speak to in India that get financing for documentaries is
Impossible.
yeah, it's impossible. In fact,
Mhm.
There are no funding bodies.
there are no funding bodies as you see in Europe or in the US. So usually, Indian filmmakers tend to kind of like apply for funds which are abroad, and it takes a lot of hard work to kind of like make something solid. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, okay. And last question, I guess, future projects. What are you working on? Anything new?
Ah, there is a story brewing, so let's see.
Yeah.
This film has just come to life, so let's
Hmm.
uh, bring it out to the world, and
At the
then
moment, we want to try to take in the premiere, hopefully nice. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the festival is something that we're really looking forward
Okay, okay. Do you think in the future you'll make another documentary about Veeru when he's a teenager or
to.
30 years old? I don't know.
You're not the only one who's asked us this. But yeah, I mean, it's well, I mean, it's difficult to. I see where you're coming from. I understand that it'd be nice to see Veeru growing up in his teens.
but you never know.
But you never know. Yeah, I mean, we
Okay.
haven't really gone there.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you very much for your time. When is the premiere in Thessaloniki?
On the 10th.
On the 10th.
Okay, okay. So good luck with the premiere and moving forward, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.